palabras nunca alcanzan. Las palabras son a veces un fracaso de la imaginación. Frente a la música no hay palabras. Explota el sol, nace la luz, juega el viento, tiembla el corazón. Lo que suena es la emoción. Suena así desde hace 300 o 400 años, o 10 minutos. Suena otra vez y suena nueva, clara, distinta. Solo hay que escuchar, sin nada para decir.
Intelligence can be your best friend and your worst enemy. Hatred, jealousy, aggression, pride, arrogance. If it is just the mental poison, wisdom, passion, serenity, true understanding of reality is freedom. Simple life comes from a simple heart. In Buddhism, the root is altruistic love. The wish that all sentient beings find happiness.
Hay ángeles arriba y ángeles abajo. Ángeles caídos y ángeles que se maquillan esperando su protagónico en el cine. Hay hombres que nunca serán protagónicos de nada. Millonarios de Beverly Hills y locos abandonados. El hombre araña se cruza con Jimi Hendrix. Marilyn se agarra a los bordes de su pollera. Superman se relame su boca de kriptonita. Hay héroes extraños en esta tierra del pueblo de Nuestra Señora de la Reina de los Ángeles de Porciúncula. Los Ángeles. LA. Abandonado por España, arrancado a México. Sede del sueño en los Estados Unidos. Tiene 23 años y cara de niño gordo y exagerado. Ojos tristes y sonrisa franca. Tocó el violín a los 11 años bajo la batuta de Zubin Mehta y fue a los 19 el músico más joven en toda la historia de la Orquesta Filarmónica de Los Ángeles. Robert Gupta cree que la música cura. No lo cree, lo sabe. Así fue su historia con Nathaniel Ayers, un homeless que pudo controlar su esquizofrenia con el violín. El encuentro marcó la vida de ambos y, como debía suceder en Los Ángeles, dio lugar a una película, The Soloist, con Jamie Foxx y Robert Downey Jr.
Great. Let's go play.
Desde entonces, Gupta toca gratuitamente para enfermos mentales en Skid Row, un barrio del downtown donde se concentra la mayor población de homeless de Estados Unidos.
Please join me in welcoming Robert Gupta and his special guest today, Zach Dell.
My name is Robert. Lisa, thank you for your introduction. I'm so thrilled to be here. We feel that this music just doesn't belong in the concert hall. It's for you. It's for the people, and it unites us. And it's not just something that makes us feel good and makes us soothes us inside. But I believe that it's therapy. I believe that it actually heals us from the inside. And so, without any more further words, I would just like to play for you. We're playing a piece that Mozart wrote in Salzburg. It's a brilliant piece of music that he wrote for one of his rivals. And he dedicated it to him entirely, and even signed his name on it and left it on his pillow. And in fact, that's absolutely true. And for us, we don't quite know whether Mozart was being friendly or if he was just rubbing it in, because only Mozart would have written something as beautiful as this. So we hope you enjoy it.
¿Con qué pensás que te conectás cuando tocas? ¿Con qué te conectás del alrededor?
Of course, the most important part about playing music is connection. Because I believe that music is communication. It's another language.
Yes.
In fact, it's a language that existed before spoken language, when we were very primitive human beings. And so somehow the way that this sound affects us is all about communication. So I connect with you. I connect with my audience. I connect with the musicians that are around me, and I communicate with them and speak to them through my instrument without having to form words. It is my job to understand what the composer was going through in their life and what was their theme. So it's my responsibility as a musician to understand the madness of Schumann, the genius and purity of Mozart, this analytical, natural, beautiful perfection of Bach. Also to understand what they were going through in their lives and in their hearts, you know. And you imagine Beethoven, he was my age, and he was a fantastic pianist. And then he started losing his hearing. And he had to stop. It was like you know, you're an athlete and you have an accident and you lose your legs. He lost everything. And why? He had every reason to go insane, every reason to become completely mad and leave his life and leave his family and end up on the street, you know, and give up everything. But he kept going. There's a beautiful passage from Thomas Mann, Dr. Faustus, where he talks about Beethoven when he's writing the credo of his Missa Solemnis. And he's talking from the perspective of the people living in the apartment below him. And that Beethoven would be screaming and shouting and stomping his feet just because he was trying to hear again in his own mind this music. Yeah. Of course, that's the picture of a prisoner of his own music, but what he created for humanity. That's the message of his Ninth Symphony. Beethoven spent so much time in his room composing by himself as we spend so much time in our room practicing by ourselves. But the message of the Ninth Symphony is that, brother, I embrace you.
Robert's story is a little bit unbelievable. I mean, I don't know a lot of people his age with his interests, his knowledge, his life experiences, and he's always struck me as a very impressive young man. And that's one reason he wanted to give these concerts. It's part of it is just out of the goodness of his heart, and another part of it is he's curious about the science of the connection between music and medicine.
No hay relato sin relator, y el relator de esta historia fue un periodista. Steve López escribió El solista, un sueño perdido, una amistad improbable y el poder redentor de la música. El solista narra la historia de su encuentro con Nathaniel Ayers, el homeless que tocaba un violín con 2 cuerdas en Pershing Square.
It was in the summer of 2007. He had just arrived in Los Angeles, and it's a bit of a funny story. I was in the office at the LA Phil of the media relations director. His name was Adam Crane, and he had this young man in his office, and he introduced me, and I thought he was an intern or something. I thought maybe he was a public relations intern or he was a visiting student. And I think that was when Adam told me, no, he's the newest member of the LA Philharmonic. And I said, well, how old is he? And he said, he's 19. And I said, 19 years old? How does that happen? And maybe there's a story just in how a 19-year-old happened to be, good enough to be in the orchestra.
I'm beginning to see illness without stigma. And I think that that's one of the biggest challenges towards any type of illness, but especially with mental illness. We realize that we see ourselves in those who are ill. And that's what really scares us a lot. So maybe in a way, understanding fear, understanding the way we become afraid, why we become afraid, because we don't know. And somehow in embracing that, you begin to understand that you can help in some way by giving some comfort. And now the idea is to give that comfort through the music.
Sueñan como en un juego. Dentistas jubilados, secretarias de vacaciones, parejas de luna de miel que se convierten en el increíble Hulk o en la Mujer Maravilla. Juegan como en un sueño. En el país de las máscaras todo es posible y nada duele. La justicia triunfa y el chico finalmente besa a la chica. Todos buscan aquí lo que fueron, lo que quisieran volver a ser. Gatúbela y Tom Cruise pelean la guerra de las galaxias hasta que la máscara se cae y salen expulsados del sueño.
¿Cómo es la zona pobre de Los Ángeles? La zona que no se ve de Los Ángeles.
Yeah, the parts you never see in movies, just a few miles away from the Hollywood sign. These are places in downtown Los Angeles, in an area called Skid Row. And this is a place where 80,000 homeless people live. And it became this way in the mid-late 1980s when President Reagan dissolved the mental illness institutions in California, and all these people were without homes. In the 1920s, 1930s, downtown was the place to be, and now it's a wasteland. It's a place filled with concrete and steaming asphalt. And these people that are there are prisoners.
Nathaniel Ayers es carcelero de sí mismo. Hay una parte de su cabeza que nunca nadie podrá conocer. Allí trataron de llegar en vano con electroshock, toracina, chaleco de fuerza. Nathaniel tiene una cicatriz que no puede borrarse. Se mueve en círculo como un boxeador. Y Gupta recuerda que cuando lo conoció le hablaba de demonios y de humo y de cómo alguien trataba de envenenarlo mientras dormía.
I started to become involved in his story. And what I would do is I would see him get into a place that was depressed. And I would just pull out the violin. And he had a violin. And I'd say, let's play together. And he'd say, oh, Mr. Gupta, I can't play that. And I'd say, Mr. Ayers, yes, you can play that. Play with me together. And now bring your head around and play that. That's your posture. And then you'd see him change. And then I went to go see him in Skid Row, next to piles of trash and a barbed wire. I opened the violin case, and I also played there. And so the music knows no barrier. You know, and this is when I started to begin to work with him, when I started to begin to see the reality of how they live, how they are.
Bring your elbow up this way. Yeah, very good. Go back to the G. Just a little tiny bit.
Nathaniel Anthony Ayers had been on the street for many years after suffering a breakdown at the Juilliard School, where he was in an orchestra with Yo-Yo Ma. And he needed to be around music. I realized that music would help him. It seemed as though it was therapeutic. It was medicine for him. I met Nathaniel at a time when the newspaper industry looked like it was in serious trouble. And I didn't know how much longer I'd have my job. And I was very depressed about that. And I was looking for new connections. And I saw him on the street, and I saw that he was playing a violin that was missing 2 strings. But he was playing with all of his heart, and he was not playing for money. So I thought, okay, I have to answer those questions, and maybe there's a column in it. What is his story? Where did he come from? Is he even aware that a violin has 4 strings? Because it was clear he was dealing with some mental issues. But he had a little sign on his shopping cart. He had all of his belongings in a shopping cart, and a little sign said, Little Walt Disney Concert Hall. And this was several blocks from the big Walt Disney Concert Hall.
¿Cómo pensás que ellos te ven a vos?
I haven't thought about that. And I don't really know if I should. I don't care.
No importa.
No, it doesn't matter. It's about giving. And it's about giving to the one who will feel something that changes them when I give. It doesn't matter how I give. It doesn't matter what I wear or who I am or what my name is or where, the music doesn't need that either. And it's at that point in time I remember why I am a human being. It shows me why I'm here, and to embrace that, to bring that, and be that. Doesn't matter if I'm Robert or Nathaniel or if I'm even sane or insane. Maybe I am insane to do that, and I'm very happy to be insane that way.
And then the piano comes in. Yeah, so it's beautiful. The clarinet quintet.
And it seemed clear to me that the more he talked about music, the more okay he seemed to feel. It really was as if you had watched somebody take some medicine. They were feeling miserable and they took some medicine and started to feel better. When Nathaniel is playing and bowing like this, he calls it sawing away. And as I would see him agitated, disturbed, having trouble differentiating between what's real and what's imagined, and dealing with the daily torment, seeing and hearing things that I don't, and then to see him escape into the embrace of the music. And I would look at him and his eyes would close and his head is back in ecstasy, and it's as if he's sawing through the madness. And for him, it really is sawing through the madness. It takes him to a saner place than many of us will ever visit, because he has something few of us ever find. He has this passion. I mean, it has been there for him. It's never left him. He's never left it. Imagine 35 years of waking up and not knowing what's real. But you return to the music, and this world that's spinning out of control suddenly has order. It's because the notes haven't moved. They're in the same place Beethoven left them in 200 years ago. And when he sees that, there's structure, there's order, there's sanity, and he's home.
Si hay una imagen que para mí es como una metáfora de la soledad total, es la locura, porque es el lugar a donde él no puede llevar a nadie. Nadie puede acompañarlo.
They cannot bring the world into their own feeling. When we realize that we cannot bring somebody else into our mind, we realize that, especially as artists that work alone so often, that we are very lonely. But what the artist has is the gift of expression. He's able to say, express what he's feeling, what he's thinking, what is his spirituality. But those who are insane, those who are mentally ill, they don't have that. They don't know when they are sane and when they are insane. Artists know.
Claro, claro.
Sometimes we as artists, we embrace the insanity. We embrace this obsession and work and work and work. But the one who is insane, they never know.
¿Hay alguien ahí? ¿Dónde está? ¿Por qué? Sol, calle, quema, viento. Llegó, está, se va. Tajo, azul. Llueve adentro mío. Sol otra vez. Calor. Tiempo. Volver. ¿Hay alguien?
Oftentimes, you know, people with mental illness, not always, but a lot of times there's usually a really powerful story behind that. So I think if I can make a difference by playing for them in a way that offers them some hope and some beauty in their lives, I think it's a huge difference, you know, because it's also giving them a memory. They can always go back to that room and remember those, not just the notes that they heard, but the way that they felt in response to it. You know, it's not remembering a melody as much as an experience that they had with the music.
Zachary Deringer conoce la locura porque vivió con ella. Nunca habla del tema como ningún preso habla jamás de la pared. Su madre es esquizofrénica. La música no pudo salvarla a ella, pero pudo salvarlo a él.
When I play music, it means everything to me. You know, it's all that I do, and I can finally say, this is what I've been doing in this room. You know, this is what I've been striving at. I've been trying to create this beautiful sound for you. That's my voice, and I want to speak to you.
Early on, I was a little bit overwhelmed by this, but a psychiatrist told me that I had changed Nathaniel's brain chemistry by simply being his friend. And I thought, well, is that scientifically possible? And he said, I believe that it is possible to change somebody's chemistry. What he has is about it's a neurochemical disorder, and there are different things that trigger the disorder, and there are things that calm it. And I think knowing that somebody cares about him, loves him unconditionally, will be there for him, has made him, a healthier person.
I'm volunteering at a juvenile detention center.
I'm at McLean Hospital with short-term patients.
I work in a ward with clients with dementia.
Just started last week and had
a really transformative experience.
The past is kind of like running away from them. They can't really think too far in the future.
A lot of the time they come in feeling quite down and not that confident.
Most of the kids seem to just really love it. They connect with music.
And I could see that as he was practicing, his confidence, his self-esteem was really boosted.
They really focused on one goal.
It's just amazing what, you know, music can do.
Music can transform everything around you.
After my father was in a very serious motorcycle accident, he was in a coma for a while, and all the nurses said that he can't hear and he can't feel and he can't see and to leave the room. But I insisted on singing to him all the time, and within a few weeks, actually, the EEG scans that were showing his brain motion actually showed activity, and it was from my singing to him after a while. So the neurologist came into the room and assessed the EEG and was amazed at that there weren't flat lines. So that's really why I feel that music can save, because that for me was a huge thing. You know, I woke my father up from a coma with music, so that was music can change a lot of things and save the world.
Berklee College es la universidad privada de música más grande del mundo. Tiene casi 4.000 estudiantes y unos 700 profesores. Ofrece formación musical en jazz, rock y música contemporánea, y dicta la carrera de musicoterapia desde 1996.
Music therapy is as old as the Bible. Music is used in ancient practices to heal, to cure, to soothe. And in many cultures, music is so much a part of life, a part of what we do to be human.
Susan Hanser presidió la Fundación Mundial de Musicoterapia y fundó el Departamento de Musicoterapia del Berklee College. Susan sabe que la música calma el dolor, reduce el estrés, baja la ansiedad y aumenta la autoestima. En pacientes con Alzheimer sirve para orientarlos.
I've worked with young children who have special needs, and I've seen them come alive, and no matter what their disabilities, show their inner talent, show their creativity, show their love of music, and begin to express who they are.
Woke up this morning, smile with the rising sun, 3 little birds on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true, singing, this is my message to you.
Saying a few words about yourself?
I would like to say to you all that having just played this Mozart for you is it's been I appreciate you having us, but I can't tell you how special it is to play for this audience. I can feel your heart. And that's what this is all about. This is why I started playing music, and you remind me why I do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I felt so moved in this concert because I felt that I was communicating with these people through the music. You can't hide when you're playing music. Yet the fact that in that way it's even more communicative, there's more communication involved in music than there is in talking, because people hide all the time when they talk. They talk and they might be nervous, but then they do this to make, or talk in a certain way to cover up their emotions. In music, that's not possible. If you're nervous, if you feel a certain way, it will always come out. So if you feel moved at the same time, that comes out as well. If you care for someone or you care for your audience, that comes out as well.
Didn't expect that, did you?
About illness is that we see ourselves in the illness, is because we think about our own depression. So we don't like, as human beings, to face our own mortality, and that we can be consumed by illness. We can let it rule our lives, or we can go on and do something that changes us at our very core, that exemplifies everything that we have, and expresses it and gives it to the world and says, this is real. This is not something that can be tainted by illness, and we should celebrate this. And that is life.
Cae la noche en Los Ángeles y las máscaras vuelven a su lugar. Todos salen a la calle a perseguir su sueño, el éxito o el amor. Lo que ayer se escapó como arena entre las manos, pero hoy llegará seguro. La noche en LA es una cacería llena de sirenas, y chicas borrachas y música que no para de sonar. Hay paparazzis y estrellas desconocidas y turistas de la inmortalidad. Hay también la grieta y los hombres que vuelven cansados de sus cuevas.
¿Y en qué momento la música a vos empezó a darte alegría?
My dad would turn on cartoons for me, Tom and Jerry, and I would turn the TV channel to watch the orchestra. And I remember this, that I have some image of all of the bows in the orchestra, all the bows moving together. And this was one of the most beautiful things that I remember. And so they took me to a local music teacher, and that's where everything started. I never knew what the word nostalgia meant. And I would hear, some teacher would tell me when I was 9 years old, the second movement of the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto, is nostalgic. And I never knew what it meant until I was 21, 22 years old, thinking about my parents at home in New York. And then I knew what nostalgia meant. But in a way, I knew through the music, through the emotion, what nostalgia sounded like when I was 9 or 10. More and more we are beginning to trust our emotion and sense how wise this human instinct of ours is true.
He's escaping.
He's got passion.
He's going to a place where he's absolutely safe, that nothing can go wrong.
Is that it's an escape from the madness. It's just something good. It's powerful.
What is it about music that focuses people, that harnesses people's energy to make something beautiful? Otherwise, they're damaged.
This story is the best story I've ever had in 35 years as a journalist. So all of these things came to me through this chance encounter with a guy living out of a shopping cart playing a violin that was missing 2 strings.
¿Tuviste miedo a volverte loco?
To a certain extent, yes. Yes, when I was 17, my parents had been taking me, I started going to college when I was 14. And I started my undergraduate degree in biology then. And then the next 2 years, I started a second undergraduate degree with music. So I was doing 2 degrees and playing this music that I loved and playing this, studying this biology that I also loved. And then my mother had a major surgery, and she felt quite ill. And my parents sat me down, and they said to me, Robert, you have to choose between being a doctor or a musician, because we cannot keep doing this. And of course, I wanted to pack up my violin, pack up a suitcase, and go to New York City and play for the rest of my life. This was my life. This was more than obsession, more than passion. This was my oxygen, my blood. And they said, you're going to be a doctor. And I was devastated. Whereas as a doctor, it's guaranteed your place in the world, and then you can play music as a hobby. It made perfect sense to them, rationally. But to me, I felt as if I was going to break inside. And for 2 years, I didn't play. These are the most 2 difficult years of my life.
Imagínate que estás a punto de empezar a tocar y que está la sala llena. ¿Qué sentiste en ese momento, en ese segundo, antes de empezar?
Don't shake. I focused myself on, of course, on the technical aspects of the playing. But honestly, that is a time where my mind is completely blank. It's a point of focus where the whole world disappears, and at the same time I embrace the whole world. Because then I let go. There's nothing more I can do. I have to give myself to the music.
A esta hora, los fantasmas se vuelven privados. Nathaniel arrastra sus zapatillas hasta Skid Row. Robert y Zachary discuten con pasión sobre la belleza. Yo escucho la fiesta desde el jardín. Ya es tarde en Los Ángeles y hasta los monstruos necesitan descansar.